Welcome back, Cowboys Nation, and buckle up, because today we are diving deep into one of the most pressing questions heading into the new season. Did the Dallas Cowboys fail to fix their biggest problem on defense? This is not just about one weak spot or a minor flaw, this is about a potentially season-defining issue that could be the difference between a deep playoff run and another heartbreaking, early postseason exit. Over the past few years, we've seen this Cowboys defense develop into one of the most feared in the league in some areas, yet frustratingly inconsistent in others. Yes, they've had all-pro performances from Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs, and DeMarcus Lawrence, and they've built a reputation for being fast, aggressive, and disruptive. But underneath all that energy and highlight reel plays lies a lingering vulnerability that opponents have targeted again and again: the run defense. And the big question is, did Dallas really fix it this offseason, or are we in for another year of watching teams gash them between the tackles when it matters most? Let's start with the facts. Last season, the Cowboys defense finished as one of the best in the NFL against the pass, ranking near the top in sacks, pressures, and takeaways. On paper, that sounds elite. But when you flip the stat sheet and look at their run defense, the story gets a lot less flattering. They rank near the bottom half of the league in rushing yards allowed per game and were particularly vulnerable in key moments: third and short, red zone situations, and late game drives where stopping the run was critical. We saw it against teams like the 49ers, the Cardinals, and even the Eagles at times. It became almost predictable. If a team needed to control the clock and keep the ball out of Dak Prescott's hands, they just pounded the ball inside, and the Cowboys' front seven struggled to stand their ground. So, what did Dallas do about it? Well, the Cowboys' front office did make some moves that, at least on the surface, were aimed at beefing up the defensive interior. They brought in veterans, re-signed key rotational guys, and drafted young players they hope can develop into run stuffers. Mazi Smith, the first-round pick from last year, was supposed to be part of that solution, a massive, athletic defensive tackle whose main calling card in college was clogging up running lanes and eating double teams. But let's be honest, Smith's rookie season did not go as planned. His snap count was lower than expected, his impact was minimal, and by the end of the year, it felt like the Cowboys still hadn't solved the exact problem they drafted him to address. This offseason, there were calls from fans and analysts alike for Dallas to add a proven, dominant defensive tackle, someone like a Daquan Jones or a Calais Campbell type, a guy who could instantly shore up the middle of the line. But when free agency came and went, the Cowboys' approach was, once again, far more conservative. They leaned on internal development and smaller, value signings instead of making the kind of splash move that screams, "We are fixing this right now." That decision, while financially cautious, has left a lot of people wondering if this front office is simply hoping for improvement instead of forcing it to happen. And here's where the concern grows. The NFC is loaded with teams that can run the ball down your throat. The 49ers' Kyle Shanahan offense is built on physical, downhill running with Christian McCaffrey. The Eagles have one of the most dominant defensive lines in football, and use the QB sneak better than anyone in NFL history. Even teams like the Packers and Lions can dominate time of possession with their ground game. If you can't stop those offenses in January, your season is done. We've seen this story play out before for Dallas: a great regular season derailed by an opponent who simply overpowers them in the trenches when the stakes are highest. It's not just about personnel, it's about scheme and mentality. Dan Quinn's defense thrives on speed and chaos, but when you rely so heavily on quick penetration to disrupt plays, you open yourself up to being gashed if the opponent wins at the point of attack. Offensive coordinators have figured this out: run right at Dallas, use their aggressiveness against them, and watch as linebackers get caught in traffic and safeties are forced to make too many tackles. Leighton Vander Esch's health has also been a concern. When he's off the field, the run defense tends to suffer. And while the Cowboys drafted help at linebacker, rookies don't always plug those gaps instantly at the NFL level. Now, don't get me wrong, there's still a lot to be excited about with this defense. Micah Parsons is an absolute game changer, and if Mazi Smith takes a year-two leap, we could see real improvement. Osa Odigizwa has been quietly solid, and the addition of depth pieces could help keep guys fresh deep into games. But the question remains, is that enough to fix what has been a recurring, glaring weakness? Or are we just putting a band-aid on a wound that keeps reopening every postseason? Think back to that divisional round loss to the 49ers 2 seasons ago. Dallas defense played well for most of the game, but when San Francisco needed to put it away, they ran the ball effectively and controlled the tempo. Fast forward to last year, and the story didn't change much. Teams with strong offensive lines and physical running backs could still push Dallas around up the middle. This isn't just a trend, it's a pattern. And patterns, in the NFL, tend to get exploited until you make them disappear. Some might argue that the Cowboys' defensive front just needs more time to gel. Continuity is valuable, and keeping the same core together could lead to better communication and gap discipline. But others see it differently, that without adding a truly dominant run defender, you're essentially betting on the same guys to suddenly become something they haven't been yet. That's a risky gamble in a conference as competitive as the NFC. Training camp reports have been mixed. There's been talk of Mazi Smith looking quicker and more comfortable, but also signs that the interior is still getting pushed around in live reps. Preseason will give us some clues, but the real test will come in the regular season when the Cowboys face elite rushing attacks. If we're still seeing 4, 5, and 6-yard runs on early downs, it won't matter how many sacks or interceptions this defense racks up. The inability to get off the field will haunt them again. And let's not forget, the Cowboys' offense is also affected by this weakness. When your defense can't stop the run, the other team controls the clock, limits your offensive possessions, and puts pressure on Dak Prescott to be nearly perfect when he does get the ball. That's a recipe for disaster in close games. The best way to help your quarterback is to get him more opportunities, and that starts with stopping the run. So here we are, staring down another season with the same big question hanging over this team. Did the Cowboys truly fix their biggest defensive problem, or did they simply hope it would get better on its own? The answer will come quickly once the real games begin. If Dallas wants to be taken seriously as a Super Bowl contender, they cannot afford to be soft up the middle. Micah Parsons and the pass rush can only do so much if teams are living in third and short all day long. Cowboys fans have been waiting a long time for this team to break through and reach the Super Bowl again. They've built an explosive offense, a terrifying pass rush, and a ball-hawking secondary. But in football, your team is only as strong as its weakest link. Right now, stopping the run remains that link, and until it's truly fixed, there's a shadow hanging over all the other strengths. Will this be the year they finally put it to rest? Or will we be sitting here in January, watching another promising season end the same way, asking ourselves why it wasn't addressed more aggressively when they had the chance? Either way, one thing is certain: we're going to find out very soon. And when we do, it could define the Cowboys' entire season. So buckle up, Cowboys Nation. The road ahead is going to be physical, it's going to be gritty, and it's going to test whether this team has truly learned from its past mistakes. Thanks for watching, and if you love in-depth Cowboys coverage like this, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a single update.